Hello, in this video we are going to go over the solution of the problem 3, longest substring without repeating characters. For example, I could have a string like this one, and the longest substring could be A, B, C. And as the result, we are going to output 3. Or we could have a string like this one, and for that one, the longest substring will have only one character, and we return 1. For the last example, we could have a string like this. And for example, I could have a substring as WKE. Okay, imagine that we are given a string like this one. And what I'm gonna do is to show all of the characters here and index of characters underneath of them. We are going to solve this problem using 2 pointers. The first thing we do is to start a for loop. We say for j in range of length of s, which means that we are going to visit all of the characters one by one. Let me also print j here. Okay. And j is gonna move forward. And then I need to have a variable to return as the longest substring. I'm gonna call this variable as longest substring and initialize that as 0 at the beginning. And at the end, I'm just gonna return this variable. Okay. Also, I need to calculate the difference between j and I. For example, if j is at D and I is at A, what is the length of this substring? So it's gonna be 4. So let's see, how can we calculate that? We are gonna say longest substring equals maximum of longest substring and j minus I plus 1. For example, j here is 3, I is 0, j minus I is 3, plus 1 is 4, which is the length of A, B, C, D. Okay, so in that way we can calculate the longest substring. But if I'm moving forward, I might visit a character that is already visited. In that case, I need to update I. First, let me initialize I as 0. And for updating I, I'm going to define a dictionary and call it D. And inside the for loop, I'm going to create this dictionary like this. Say dictionary of Sj equals j plus 1. And let me show you what this dictionary looks like. So you see we created this dictionary, and at the beginning when j equals 0, A is 1. When j equals 1, we are going to add the B to that, and the value for that is 2. Then for j equals 2, we are adding C. Then we go for D, we add that. For E, we add that. Then we come to 5. The index 5, character A again. And character A is now repeated here. So I'm going to update character A with the index of 6. And we go forward in this way, and at the end we end up like this. The value of the last scene A is 6. The value of last scene B, for example, is 13. The value of last scene C is 11, and so on. After creating that dictionary, let's see how can we use that. Now we say if Sj in D, which means that we are at a repeated character. We need to update I here. In that case, I'm going to update I and say I equals maximum of I and D of Sj. Okay. For example, we are at j equals 5. We have a repeated character of A. J equals 5. What is Sj? Sj, S at the index 5 is A. A is inside the dictionary. So that is a repeated character. Now we have to update I based on this formula. What was I before that? I before that was 0. Now, what is the dictionary value for the character A. Dictionary for the character A is 1. So what is the maximum between 1 and 0? That is 1. So we are going to update I to 1. So I is updated to 1. Okay, so we move I 1 forward. And the length of the substring is now this one, which is 5. Okay, we go forward. J goes to 6. Here, our length of substring becomes 6. J go 1 forward again to 7. 7 again repeated. I is gonna update to 2. Length is still 6. We go forward for J equals 8. Now we are going to update I. So to update I is initially at 2. And we look at the character D in the dictionary. We say, okay, character D is 4. So we update I to 4. So I is gonna move 2 forward all the way here. So longest substring so far is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this time. But we are keeping the maximum. The previous one was 6. So we are still having the 6. So now we are at J equals 9. What is the longest substring? So longest substring is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good. We go for J equals 10. For J equals 10, is that already visited the character C? Yes. So that is a part of dictionary. And we need to update I. I right now is 4. But if I want to update that, the value of C inside the dictionary is actually 3. So this maximum is going to return I itself. So I is gonna remain at the location it was. It's not gonna move. And what is the length right now? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the longest substring is 7. Okay, I go one more forward. J equals 11. J equals 11. Again, repeated character. We already visited B. So where was the last time we visited B in the dictionary? 8. What is our I? I is 4. So we are going to update I to 8. So I is gonna move all the way to 8. And you see the longest substring here is 1, 2, 3, 4. We keep the last maximum one. It's gonna be 7 still. Okay, we go for the next one. J equals 12. J equals 12. We have a repeated character. What is the character B inside the dictionary? That is 12 here. So we are going to update I to 12. So I is gonna come all the way to 12. Okay, so at the end, the substring for this one is 1. So we are not gonna change this maximum longest substrings. And if you remember, when J was at 10 and I was at 4, we had this substring E, A, F, B, D, G, C, that the length of that is 7 that we are returning at the end. Okay, now let's talk about time and space complexities. For the time complexity, we are visiting each character only once, so in the for loop. So as the result, our time complexity is order of n. For the space complexity, we created this dictionary, D, and the keys of this dictionary are just alphabet characters, and because of that, there are constant number of them, and also the values of the D are going to be only integers. As a result, the required space is constant, and the space complexity in big O notation is order of 1. Okay, this is the solution of the problem 3, and thank you so much again for watching this video.